Alright, I'm sitting here working on arrows. So I thought of getting it on video as a series on how to make arrows from start to finish. But I'm going to be out of sequence here. Right now what I'm doing is cold straightening, what I call cold straightening on Viburnum shoots. Anyway, I'm just messing around with this right now, just trying to get used to the new ones that I gathered. The old ones that I've gathered are behind me. Let's see. I got them 2 years ago. Let's see. I got some Viburnum and some buckthorn. Yeah, these are actually alder buckthorn. Where are my Viburnum? Yeah, and these were March. This is March 12th, but this is 2022. This is 2 years ago. There it is. 2022. March 12th. So these have been seasoning for 2 years. I cold straightened these without heat before I bundled them. And I used some really good thick rubber bands. Where's my Viburnum? That's buckthorn. Buckthorn is very lightweight. It's a lot like red osier as far as the weight goes. Let's see. Is this it? No. I gotta bring down the whole bundle. Hold on. I got a bunch of stuff back here. Yeah, and of course it's all piled up on top of each other because I don't have no room. Okay. What are these? What are they? These are just March 12th, but I can tell these are also the buckthorn. Where's my Viburnum? No, it's buckthorn. Is this it? I can tell by the... Yeah, here it is. It says cold straightened Viburnum. What happened to the date? There's no date. But I gathered these the same time. I gathered these the same time as the other ones 2 years ago. But these are further along. So I took all the bark off. Okay, here it is. 3/30/22. March 30th, 22. So yeah, a little over 2 years ago. And I thought I was going to use them that first year. Cold straightened. I've already said that. Yeah. Anyway, these I was really picky about. And I got really long ones. Yeah. 31 3/4 or thereabouts. Let's see. The longest ones I got are the buckthorn, I think. Let's see. I usually don't make arrows this long, but I made sure I harvested it with plenty of room on them. These are 35 3/4. Yeah, almost 36. Okay, so I got Viburnum that can probably reach that length if I don't knock everything over. Alright, so this is a Viburnum shoot. Really long one, but it's kind of wonky. Anyway, let's see. This one, yeah, it's 4 feet. Okay, so what I do is I look around, and if it's got nasty spots, I cut that off. That might be not usable right there. And what I do is, if that's not usable, I'll cut it right here, and I can use this for a foreshaft of some sort, and then the rest of it can be an arrow. Because I don't like dealing with these defects. Let's see, how long is it without that defect on there? If I cut it right there, 30, it'll be 38 and a half. So, plenty of room. Except, you know, if it's got big branches, I don't like using it. It's got to have only small. What is this? Is this Viburnum? Yeah. Buckthorn, let's see. Buckthorn has very similar branches. This is probably buckthorn. But anyway, the Viburnum has alternating branches. So that's how I tell. See these right here? And then the next branches are going to be 90 degrees to that. And then the next one is going to be turned this way, like that. See? So there, these are that direction. These branches are that direction. And these branches are that direction, you know? And they sprout too. Okay, that's how I can tell. Other than the color, there's some obvious color difference. The buckthorn gets a little bit of a deeper color than the Viburnum. Viburnum stays pretty bright. Anyway, what was I going to do? What was I going to show you? I think I was going to show you the bark peeling and the cold straightening with one of my new arrow straighteners. Now this is Osage, and I just made it. I shouldn't say just made it. I made it just before I came to Vermont. That's what I meant to say. And I need to sand it down some more to get rid of the saw marks. And it's a little bit harsh on the arrows when I'm bending. It puts little marks on the wood. Like I was just cold straightening this one. You can see it leaves little marks in the wood. See those? As you straighten, in case you haven't used one of these before, it's an arrow wrench anyway. When you bend the stick, it puts little, what looks like little bite marks. And I think some archaeologists confuse these arrow straightener marks with bite marks. And or arrow wrench, I should say. The straighteners are something else in the archaeological record. They're made of stone and such. They're so-called arrow straighteners. But anyway, this is an arrow wrench. Some arrow wrenches have holes drilled in them. Okay, you can do that type too, but I like this type because you can work on it much faster. You know, you don't have to go all the way up, put it through the hole. If you want to switch arrow shafts, you can go much quicker between different arrow shafts. And if you want to do spot straightening really quick, you just put this right on the spot and then put it down. You know, you don't have to try to thread it through the hole each time and take it out each time. Okay? It's just faster. And when you got lots to do, it saves time. So, this is how they start out. I try to get them straight, but you know how that goes. Even with such short pieces, these are short. The ones I'm going to make for myself, short pieces. These are 22 and a half. Okay, so they're going to be about 22-inch arrows. This one's got white paint to try to keep it from cracking, because they will crack. Where is this one cracked? So I can show you what I mean. See how that's cracked right there on one of the knots? They will crack at those knots as they're drying out in many cases, especially down here in the thick spots. So I painted it a little while ago with white paint. I need to go get some waterproof wood glue that's clear or semi-clear, because I don't like using paint because I can't see the size of the pith very easily. I can see it there. You can kind of see it there. And you can kind of see it there. But it's much easier to see if you got glue on it instead of paint. See, these are all glue covered. Well, not all of them, but you can see which ones are glue covered and which ones are not. It's so much easier to see the pith when you got a clear glue over it than when you got white paint or some kind of paint. Okay? So I prefer using glue. But I'll use paint if I don't have anything else within 5 minutes. Yeah, that's my limit. If it takes me more than 5 minutes to find it, I'm going to go buy some more. I'm going to go buy some more tomorrow. Some glue. All right, so I try to get these to be straight when I'm looking for them out in the field. But you know how that goes. If I only get the straight ones, I come home with like 1 or 2 instead of 20. Yeah, so I take them all, and then I sort them out when I get home. Just like rocks. I cut them all, and I pick them all up, and I bring them home and sort them out. And sometimes I bring too many. All right, so here goes. We're going to start straightening now. It's a moment you've been waiting for. Look how much Viburnum bends without even cracking. You don't hear anything. Listen. You heard a little bit of... That was just the bark on the outside. It was this. But the wood itself, it can bend a lot and you don't hear anything. Yeah, see, look, watch. This stuff bends like crazy. The Viburnum, it's amazing. Anyway, I cold straighten all this stuff. Oops. Yeah, trying to look through the viewfinder makes me look like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to see if you can see. Can you see? So I cold straighten them all, and then I bind them together. Now these, I mean, you can bind them together with the bark or without. I tend to leave some of the bark on, but I tend to leave some of the bark on the ends. Yeah, not always, but usually I do. If it checks really bad, if it cracks really bad on the ends, I'll leave some bark. I'm not sure if Viburnum cracks a lot down here on the ends. It's been a while. It's been 2 years since I've worked with it. But anyway, it does split and crack and check at these little knots. So I got to be careful with those. All right, so what I do is I can either use the arrow wrench or my thumbs to get these be kind of straight. This one was kind of straight to begin with. I get them to about there, right? And then then I peel. Can I use a rock? Oh yes, I can use a rock too. This is the easy part, the peeling. You know, and yeah, you can use a rock if you want to feel like a caveman. Some people do. I was using it earlier just to see how it would work. Stone leaves little striations in it usually, which is not bad. I mean, if you're of the opinion that striations and grooves in the material keep it straight, yeah, knock yourself out. Use a really lumpy edge and it'll put lots of striations in there. Personally, I don't believe that, you know, grooves in the shaft help to keep it straight. I do not believe that mumbo jumbo. Nope. But anyway, I can use that, or I can use my trusty sidearm. I keep this one with me. This is my sidearm. What is a sidearm? It's just me being stupid. It's just my regular knife that I carry. What do I harvest these with? Or what do I gather these with? Do I use a knife like this? Heck no. I used to when I didn't mind torturing myself, but it takes too long to cut these with a knife. You know, it doesn't take that long, but it just, you know, when you're trying to gather these things and you're down in the bushes and it's all kind of tightly cramped and you got all kinds of shoots right next to you and you say, that one right there is a good one, but it's right in the middle. It's growing in the middle of the whole bundle, so I got to get in there and try to carve it out. Well, I learned. I get these. Yeah. I buy these and I make sure it's got a good joint. See that? Beefy. This one cost like $30 and it was well worth it. Because when you're cutting, these don't open up too much. They open up a little bit because they're still, for some reason, they still open up just slightly. Let me see if I can demonstrate without ruining my stuff. Yeah, I got some scraps. It's so nice. Yeah, so nice. Let's do a thicker one. Oh, I gotta put some more pressure. So when I'm out in the field, I use my gloves, of course. Usually a bunch of briars around and stuff too. So there's a cut. This is the size of the shoot that I like to cut. Now, what is the diameter? You're gonna get random information here. Just gotta hold on. Nothing is organized because if I organize it, it'll take me 4 hours to do the organization and I'll never get around to do the video. Yeah, but it'll be organized. Okay, half inch? Yeah, half-inch down here. So the thickest ones I think are a 1/2 inch. Yeah. I would say 13 millimeter. If you're the metric, it's 13 millimeter. If not, it's like a 1/2 inch. And that goes for everything. Even the buckthorn. All right, 1/2 inch at the bottom. But I'll gather stuff that's less than that, for sure. Why did I say 1/2 inch to begin with? Because that's probably the biggest, right? So I'll do the 1/2 inch, but also go down to, where's my skinnier ones? I'll go down to, almost 3/8. But, 3/8 without the bark on. You gotta leave some room for bark. So 3/8 is about the skinniest that I like to go. So between a 1/2 inch and 3/8 down at the fat end. Okay, but I make sure that I cut at the bottom of the plant. I don't go up further up and then measure the 1/2 inch and then cut it. No, I cut it down where it's growing. How should I say this? Down near the ground. The closest to the ground as possible is where I cut these. Okay, and if it's too fat down here for an arrow, I don't go up to the top and cut the top off and use the top for an arrow. No, I just leave it. I don't mess with those that are too thick down near the ground. I look around for the ones that are like this maximum thickness near the ground because the pith is tiny. Yeah, if you cut it up high, up off the ground, and use the top of the shoot for your arrow, the pith is wide. It's got too much pith, and some of these have got too much pith. I can already tell. Like this, you can tell which ones are going to be the good ones. Although it's hard to see on this one. See that little pith on that left, and the big pith on the right. The one on the left is probably the one I'm going to be liking the most. Yeah. But you never know. Sometimes the ones with a lot of pith have dense wood, so it makes up for it. Makes up for that weakness inside. All right, so this is the one I just peeled, right? So what I do is, after I finished peeling and talking for a little while, it's kind of dry, I go around and I re-straighten. No heat. Heat comes later, and I'll show that in a different video. Yeah, I'll do start to finish arrow making, and I'll use stone tools, and I'll do another series. I gotta do my beginner series Flintknapping first, I think. Or I'll just mix them all together, who knows. Anyway, I needed to do a video because I know a lot of people want to see a video every day. I just can't do one every day. Did you see what I did? Or was it all blurred? I don't know. But it cold straightens pretty well. And it doesn't crack. It's amazing stuff. And it's dense. It's heavy. Right? Now some of you were saying, okay, well, what's the spine? What's the spine weight? I want to know what the spine weight is already. When it's green, I want to know when it's green. And when it's dry, 2-year dry. Okay, well, I'll do that later. I got a spine tester. I can tell you what it is. Right now, it's pretty heavy. I mean, these are spining in at over 100 pounds probably. But, you know, I take these down. Yeah, I carve them down. I sand them down. I take them down. Okay, once they get all hand straightened or cold straightened or whatever you want to call them, green straightened, I stick them together in bundles. Now, I think the bundles go together best if they're 7 or 11 together, right? Yeah, see, 7, or is this 7? Yeah, it's 7. 1 in the middle and a 6 around the outside. It works really well. So that's 7. Do I have 11 in here? Let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh, this one's a 15. All right, where's the... Do I have an 11 in here? I seem to remember 7 or 11. It's easy to remember. I don't know. But yeah, do them so where when you wrap them, they will wrap up nice and neatly. 4 is okay, but I prefer to wrap them in 7s or something like that. Just make sure that it wraps tightly. You don't have gaps. You want them all to be wrapped and not gapped, with no gaps. Okay, so 3 works. You can wrap 3, but it's too few. They don't support each other well. You need 7 or more. Okay, so do I wrap them when they're like this? If I know I'm not going to be using them, if I don't have time, yeah, I'll wrap them like this. But I hate to leave them to dry with the bark on because it's so much of a pain to take the bark off once it's dry. Because, you know, it sticks. And then when it's dry, when the wood is dry, you get to use a lot of heat to get them straight. It takes a lot longer, I think. I used to just let them dry out. Just gather them, peel them, let them dry out. I don't even cold straighten. And then just heat straighten the straightest ones. And then throw the other ones away. Or, you know, use them as firewood, basically. But these days, I cold straighten everything because you never know. Some of the ones that I might have thrown away before I could use these days. Look, if I cold straighten and then bind them up. Now, when you bind them together, do you have to leave them for a year or 2 years? No, I think that they will get dry enough after 6 months, as long as you have them in a dry area. No wind, though. Just maybe a slight air change every now and then. But if it's too windy, they tend to crack. You know, I've noticed that if you have a fan on them, they will crack. And it is important to gather them before the sap starts flowing, because they'll have less water and they'll be lighter. The lightness doesn't matter, but you can feel the difference between a summer gathered batch and a spring gathered batch. The summer is really heavy. Okay, so I think that's it for now. I just wanted to show you how easy it was to cold straighten these. I mean, it's amazing. The Viburnum just, it's, I guess, like hazel or willow does the same thing, but they're not as dense as Viburnum when they dry. Okay, the hazel or the willow is not going to be a good heavy arrow material. It's going to be very lightweight. Although, you know, hazel is not bad. I think Ishi the Indian used hazel shoots. But Viburnum is what we have out here up in the northeast quite a bit. I can just gather this next to the river where there's public access. Yeah, there's a bunch of it. It's not straight, but there's a bunch. So yeah, when you get to these areas where there's some knots, you need to put a little bit more of a effort into getting it straight right there. More of a bend, and the arrow wrench provides a pretty tight radius bend. Yeah. When you use your thumbs, it's more of a gentle bend. Now down here at the bottom, it's usually curved, right? Oh, this piece is too thick almost. But look at that. When it's dry, you can't do that. You can't bend it like this. See that? It's amazing. What you can do when it's still green. It'll let you get away with it, and there's no cracking or nothing. Yeah. See that? I'm excited. I get excited when I start making these. Of course, it takes all my time, and I forget that I'm a flint napper. And I forget how to flint nap too. Yes, that is a thing. If I stay away from flint napping too long. Yeah, all it takes is like 4 or 5 days. If I stay away from flint napping, I get all stupid. Now this bark is still really green. It doesn't hold up to being bent. Where's my knife? Somebody knows where it is. Yes, it's underneath everything. So it doesn't matter when it gets all messed up. I still leave it there on the end, even though it's probably not going to do any good anymore since the bark is messed up. And in case I didn't mention it, you leave some bark on there because it splits and cracks down here. The bark helps to keep it from splitting and cracking. Yes, and that's what the paint is for also, to help keep it from cracking. But what I'm going to do is I'll get some wood glue, some waterproof, the waterproof type wood glue, and not only do I put glue there, but I put glue around the base up about a 1/2 inch. Okay? So I put glue both there and around the base. Right now I just put white paint on the ends so that they wouldn't start misbehaving. Okay, so I don't know how much water this contains. It contains quite a bit because we've had bunches of rain this winter. So I'm not taking no chances. And I'm not taking any chances with these knots either. See these knots? That's where it starts to crack. Right there. They don't look like they'll crack, but they'll crack right there, right there, right here, right there, and right there. They will crack there. Now, how effective is cold straightening? As you can see, it starts to revert back to its original shape pretty fast. That's why you bundle them together. You know, you bundle them together. They're not going to be perfect, but it's good enough to bundle, and then they'll support each other when drying, and you'll have a lot less work once they're dry. Okay, and you can take them apart and rebend them cold, you know, after a few days or whatever your technique is. The more you mess with them, the better they get. Okay, as long as you don't break them, as long as you don't hear no cracking, no crackling. You can't hear any single crackling, any bit of crackling when you're doing this, because it's ruined. You got to toss it or make forceps out of it or something. If you're bending this and you hear a that's it, you got to toss it out because it's no good. Sorry to say. Okay, so that's why Viburnum is so great. you hardly get any of those snap crackle pops. Yeah. Even when it's dry. See, and it's important to use something that shrinks, or you'll have to keep retying these and retying these because they will loosen up. If you use if you use rubber bands, this keeps it tight because it, you know, as they shrink, and when they'll shrink just a little bit. You want it to keep it nice and tight so they'll remain straight as possible, and they'll support each other, okay, in the bundle. If you tie them with the string, you'll have to keep unbundling and unbundling and retying every few days at first, and then you can, you know, taper off as it starts to lose most of its water. You don't have to keep retying it. How do you know if it's losing water or if it's lost most of its water? You got to weigh the bundles. Now, I don't weigh the bundles anymore because I use rubber bands, but if you're using the old way with a material that you tie these together with that does not shrink, that's not elastic, that's the old way, you weigh these, right? And if it's losing weight, you know, you write the weight. Next time you weigh it, if it's losing weight, yeah, you got to retie it because they're moving, they're shrinking, and the wrapping is loosening up. Okay, and then you wait a week or so, weigh it. If it's not dropping in weight very much, then you can leave it. You don't have to retie it. Yeah. So yeah, I learned, you know, basically the hard way that the more you take care of these in the green stage, the much more easily they are, the much more easily straightened they are once you get to the final straightening. Yeah. It's kind of like the preforms in Flintknapping. The more carefully you make the preforms, the easier it'll be when you finally get to the final finishing. If you're storing the preforms for later use, you don't want to be breaking out a bunch of stuff. Man, I didn't refine these. Now it's going to take me forever. I should have made these preforms better and stashed them in a better state. Yeah, same with the arrows. Okay, so I'm going to make a short bow for these. Because these are only going to be 20-inch draw. I think they're 23 total. Maybe I'll make them a 21-inch draw. Yeah, so these are going to be less than 23-inch. They're going to be 22-inch arrows. I can have a 21-inch draw. Yeah. Yep. And the length of the bow is the draw length times 2 plus 20%, I think. All right, so let's see what that is. At 22 inches or 21, I already forgot. These are going to be 22 inches. Okay, let's make it easy. Round number. 22 inches is a 44 minimum length bow. And then add 20% on that would be another 8 inches. 44 plus 8 is like 52. But I'm not going to do that. That's the safe way to do it. I'm going to be a little bit more drastic, and I'm going to be bringing it down to 48 inches. So 22. I'll try to get a 22-inch draw with a 48-inch bow. Yeah. See how it works. If I can't get it to tiller without too much set. I mean, the bow can't have too much set at 20 inches. So it starts, 20 inches on a 48-inch bow starts to strain it a lot. If it starts to develop set at 20 inches, I'm going to stop at 20. Okay. Why so short? Well, I'm going to be making war arrows. And in my opinion, the war arrows were shorter and the bows were smaller. In my opinion, okay? Back in the day, they made the warfare equipment smaller. more compact. So you can carry both more bows and more arrows. Because yes, you'll break a bow. If you are in combat, you don't want to break a bow and not be with one and not have one. So you bring 2 bows and bunches of arrows, and you don't want to be weighed down by big equipment. Whereas if you're hunting, you can bring a big old bow and long arrows, because you're only going to need 3 arrows, and the bow that you've got, it can be heavy too. You can just walk around with it on your shoulder, just strolling along. It's not like you have to be stressing yourself out, running everywhere and trying to hide and stuff. It's not the same. Okay, so I think that's it for this one. I'm going to go inside. I'm not going to be peeling all these tonight. It's already late. I wanted to get them all peeled and all hand straightened, but nah. I will do that on and off all week and try to get all my other projects finished that I promised last week. Yeah. It smells good too. One of the good things about Viburnum is it smells fresh and nice. All right. So that's what I was doing tonight. There you go. That's it.